President Lisa Carter stood in the underground command center beneath Washington, D.C. The room was filled with screens showing factories, shipyards, and military bases around the world. It had been 3 weeks since Captain Kelly's heroic last stand, and Earth was transforming into something the aliens had never seen before. "Report," Carter said to General Amy Rodriguez, who was studying a tablet full of production numbers. "Ma'am, the conversion is ahead of schedule," Rodriguez replied. "Every major car factory in Detroit is now building spaceship parts. The Boeing facilities are producing hull sections. Even furniture factories are making components for our ships." Carter nodded as she watched the screens. Across the planet, millions of humans worked around the clock. They had turned Earth into one giant military factory in just 3 weeks. Danny Cooper wiped sweat from his forehead as he directed workers in the former Ford Motor Company plant. Danny was a regular factory worker who had built cars for 15 years. Now he was learning to build spaceships. "Move that hull section to Station 7, Danny called out to his team. "And make sure those welds are perfect. Lives depend on our work." The factory floor buzzed with activity. Where car assembly lines once stood, workers now built the frames for Earth's new warships. The humans had taken their car-building knowledge and adapted it to spacecraft construction. "Danny," called his supervisor, Linda Barnes. "The engineers want to see you. They have questions about the new production method you suggested." Danny walked to the engineering office, still wearing his work clothes. Inside, Dr. Helen Brooks looked up from her computer. She was one of Earth's top spacecraft designers, a woman with gray hair and intelligent brown eyes. "Danny, your idea about modular construction is brilliant," Dr. Brooks said. "If we build ships in sections, we can triple our production speed. How did you think of it?" Danny shrugged. "Same way we built cars, Doc. Make parts that fit together easily. The aliens probably build their ships one at a time, custom-made. We build ours like we're making thousands of the same thing," Dr. Brooks smiled. "That's exactly right. And it's giving us an advantage they never expected." Meanwhile, on Mars Colony, Colonel Steve Adams crouched behind a damaged wall and checked his rifle. Outside, alien ground troops surrounded the human settlement. The aliens had been trying to capture Mars Colony for 2 months, but the humans refused to surrender. "Sir," whispered Sergeant Tony Martinez, crawling up beside the colonel, "we've got movement in sectors 4 and 6. Looks like another assault coming." Adams looked through his scope at the alien soldiers. They were tall, gray creatures with advanced armor and energy weapons. By all logic, they should have overrun the colony weeks ago. "How many humans do we have left?" Adams asked. 43 combat-ready personnel, sir, plus about 200 civilians who can fight if needed." Adams did quick math in his head. 43 soldiers against 4,000 alien troops. The odds were impossible, but humans had been fighting impossible odds since the war began. "Tony, pass the word. When they attack, we fall back to the inner perimeter. Use the tunnels we dug last week. Make them fight for every inch." The alien assault began with energy blasts that lit up the Martian sky. The human defenders fired back with conventional weapons, but they used tactics the aliens couldn't predict. When the aliens advanced, humans would appear from hidden positions, attack quickly, then disappear into underground tunnels. The alien commander, General Corksville, watched the battle with growing frustration. His forces had overwhelming advantages in numbers, weapons, and armor, but the humans fought like they had nothing to lose. "Sir," reported his aide, "we've taken the outer perimeter, but casualties are heavy. The humans are using explosive devices we cannot detect." Corksville hissed in anger. "How can primitives cause such losses? We have energy shields and plasma weapons." "The humans dig tunnels everywhere, sir. They attack from below, above, and from directions we do not expect. When we advance, they retreat. When we retreat, they advance. It is not civilized warfare." Back on Earth, engineer Maria Santos worked in a secret laboratory deep underground. She was a small woman with dark hair and quick hands. Around her, dozens of scientists studied pieces of alien technology captured from destroyed ships. Professor Clark, Maria called to her colleague, I think I understand how their energy weapons work. Professor Owen Clark walked over to Maria's workbench. He was an older man who had spent his life studying physics. Show me what you found. Maria pointed to a crystal device taken from an alien ship. Their weapons use focused energy crystals. But look at this power coupling. It's designed for steady, controlled output, not rapid firing. What does that mean for us? Clark asked. It means we can build energy weapons that fire faster than theirs. Their weapons are more powerful per shot, but ours can shoot more often. In a firefight, speed matters more than individual shot strength. Clark's eyes widened. Maria, you might have just changed the entire war. Within days, human factories began producing the new energy weapons. They weren't as advanced as alien technology, but they had one crucial advantage. Humans could make them quickly and in large numbers. On Kepler Station, Spy Master Vector stood before the Galactic Council with troubling reports. He was an insect-like alien with multiple eyes and antennae that twitched nervously. Council members, Vector began. Our intelligence about the humans was completely wrong. Chancellor Zektar's yellow eyes narrowed. Explain. The humans are producing warships at impossible rates. 3 weeks ago, they had 200 vessels. Our latest count shows 800 ships, with more being built every day. Coordinator Silneth's crystal body pulsed with confused light. How is this possible? Their industrial capacity was limited. They have converted their entire civilization to military production, Vector continued. Every factory, every shipyard, every manufacturing facility now builds weapons or ships. They work continuously, day and night cycles. What about their civilian population? Asked General Thoknar. Surely they are demanding surrender to end their suffering. Vector's antennae drooped. Sir, that is the most disturbing part of my report. The human civilians are not demanding surrender. They are volunteering to work in the factories. Their leaders report unprecedented unity and determination. Chancellor Zektar stood up abruptly. This is impossible. No species maintains morale. Under such conditions, they should be begging for peace. There is more, Chancellor, Vector said reluctantly. Our forces on Mars report that 50,000 humans have held their colony against 200,000 of our troops for 6 months. The humans use tactics we have never encountered. What kind of tactics? Silneth asked. They fight from tunnels and hidden positions. They use explosives made from common materials. When our forces advance, small groups of humans attack our supply lines. When we send reinforcements, different human groups attack our main force. They coordinate these attacks without advanced communications. The council chamber fell silent. For 1,000 years, they had conquered species by destroying their military and bombing their cities until civilians demanded surrender. But humans seemed to grow more determined as the fighting continued. What do our psychological experts say about human behavior? Zektar asked. Vector consulted his data pad. They are confused, sir. Human psychology does not match any known patterns. Most species fight hardest when protecting their homes, then gradually lose motivation as casualties increase. Humans appear to fight harder as the war continues. General Thoknar rumbled like an avalanche. Perhaps we should increase bombing of their cities, break their spirit through fear. We tried that, sir, Vector replied. Bombing their cities makes them fight harder, not surrender faster. They use destroyed buildings as defensive positions and become more angry at our forces. Coordinator Silneth flickered with worried light. How many ships have we lost total? 437. Vessels destroyed, sir. 215 more heavily damaged. We have also lost contact with 17 ground assault forces. Chancellor Zektar felt something cold in his stomach. The Council's invasion force had lost more ships fighting humans than they had lost in the previous 50 years of conquest, combined. Send orders to all sector commanders, Zektar said finally. I want every available ship sent to the human system. This ends now." "How many ships should we send, Chancellor?" asked Admiral Krexthor. Zektar thought about human determination, their impossible production rates, and their refusal to accept defeat. "All of them. Send every ship in the entire Council fleet." As the Council planned their massive assault, Admiral Morrison stood on the bridge of Earth's newest flagship, the Vengeance. Through the windows, he could see dozens of new human ships being constructed in orbital shipyards. "Admiral," reported Communications Officer Lisa Park, "we're receiving reports from our deep space scouts. The aliens are gathering a huge fleet, thousands of ships." Morrison nodded calmly. "Then we'd better build more ships faster." He turned to look at Earth, where millions of humans worked to defend their home. The aliens still didn't understand what they were fighting. They thought humans were just another species to be conquered. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The real war was just beginning. Captain Jake Morrison stared at the viewing screen as his ship moved slowly through the cold darkness of space. The USS Defiance was one of only 12 human ships allowed to travel beyond Earth's solar system. Even then, they could only go where the aliens said they could go. 50 years had passed since humanity first met the Galactic Consortium. What started as hope for friendship had become a prison. The 5 alien species that ruled the galaxy had decided humans were too dangerous to let free. They called it the Terran Containment Protocols, but Jake knew what it really was. Earth and all its people were locked up like animals in a cage. Dr. Lisa Carter walked onto the bridge carrying a data pad. Her face looked worried as she approached Jake's command chair. Lisa was the ship's expert on alien life forms. She had studied every species in the consortium for the past 10 years. "Captain, I found something strange in the survey data from the mining station," Lisa said quietly. She glanced around to make sure no one else could hear. "The aliens have been lying to us about more than just the travel restrictions." Jake took the data pad and looked at the numbers. They meant nothing to him, but Lisa's worried expression told him everything he needed to know. "What kind of lies?" "The trade agreements we signed 15 years ago. The aliens said they would help us improve our technology. But look at these readings." Lisa pointed to a series of charts. "Every piece of equipment they gave us has hidden programming. It stops working properly after a certain point. They have been keeping us weak on purpose." Jake felt his stomach drop. He had always suspected the aliens were not being honest, but this was worse than he imagined. "How long have you known about this?" "I only figured it out yesterday. The mining equipment on Station 7 has been producing less and less ore each year. The aliens told us it was normal wear, but the machines are designed to slow down. They'd want us dependent on them for everything." Back on Earth, Director Paul Anderson sat in his office deep underground. The Terran Defense Council headquarters was built into a mountain in Colorado. Paul had been watching the alien activities for months, and he did not like what he saw. Admiral Susan Blake entered his office without knocking. She was in charge of Earth's small fleet of defensive ships. Susan never looked happy these days, but today she looked particularly grim. "Paul, we have a problem," Susan said as she sat down across from his desk. "My intelligence teams have been monitoring alien communications. They are planning something big." Paul leaned forward. "What kind of something?" "They call it final integration. From what we can understand, it means the end of human independence. They want to make us completely dependent on them for survival." "When?" 6 months. Maybe less. Susan placed a thick folder on Paul's desk. "The consortium has been preparing for this since they first arrived. The containment was never temporary. They always planned to make us their slaves." Paul opened the folder and read the first page. The alien languages had been translated by Earth's best linguists. The words made his blood run cold. Phase 7 of the containment plan would begin soon. It involved shutting down all human manufacturing, making Earth's food production dependent on alien technology and relocating most of the human population to controlled cities. How many people know about this? Paul asked. Only my top team and now you. If the aliens find out we know, they might move faster. 3,000 miles away, Dr. Lisa Carter was making another discovery aboard the USS Defiance. She had been studying biological samples from all 5 consortium species for years. Tonight, she found something that changed everything. Humans were different from every other intelligent species in the galaxy. Not just different, but unique in a way that scared the aliens. While other species had evolved to be stable and predictable, humans had kept their ability to change and adapt quickly. The Zephyrians could read minds, but they all thought the same way. The metallic hegemony was incredibly smart, but they only followed logical patterns. The Swarm Collective worked perfectly together, but no individual could think for themselves. The Ethereals were powerful energy beings, but they had not changed in millions of years. The Talon Empire was strong and disciplined, but they only knew how to follow orders. Humans were chaos. They could think in ways no other species could. Predict. They could adapt to new situations faster than any computer could calculate. They could work together or alone equally well. Most importantly, they never stopped changing and growing. This was why the consortium was afraid. In a galaxy where every species had reached its final form millions of years ago, humans were still evolving. Not just physically, but mentally and socially. They represented something completely new and unpredictable. Lisa realized that the containment protocols were not about controlling human expansion into space. They were about preventing humans from developing into something the aliens could not understand or control. Captain Jake Morrison received an urgent message from Earth while Lisa was working in her laboratory. Director Anderson's voice came through, the secure communication channel with news that made Jake's hands shake. All human ships are to return to Earth immediately. The consortium has announced new restrictions. No human vessel will be allowed beyond the asteroid belt without alien supervision. They are also demanding that we hand over all our research data on quantum physics and genetic engineering. Jake looked around his bridge at his crew. They were good people who had volunteered to explore space despite the restrictions. Now even, this small freedom was being taken away. "Sir," said Lieutenant Amy Wilson from the pilot's station, "there's something else. I've been monitoring alien ship movements for the past week. They're positioning fleets at the edge of our solar system. It looks like they're preparing to enforce the new restrictions by force." Jake made a decision that would change everything. Instead of returning to Earth immediately, he ordered his ship to a hidden asteroid field where they could not be detected. It was time to send a secret message to Director Anderson. When Lisa finished her analysis, she brought her findings to Jake. The biological data proved that humans were not just another species to be controlled. They were something completely new in galactic history. Something that could grow beyond anything the consortium had ever seen. "Captain, we need to get this information to Earth," Lisa said. "The aliens are not just afraid of what humans might do. They are afraid of what humans might become." Jake looked at the data and understood why the aliens had worked so hard to keep humanity contained. In a galaxy full of species that had stopped growing and changing, humans represented unlimited potential. They were evolution itself, still, moving forward while everything else stood still. As the USS Defiance hid in the asteroid field, Jake prepared to send the most important message in human history. Earth needed to know the truth. The aliens had not contained humanity to protect the galaxy. They had done it to protect themselves from a species that might one day surpass them all. The countdown to final integration had begun. But now, humanity knew what they were really fighting for. Not just their freedom, but their right to keep growing and becoming something greater than they had ever imagined. War Commander Thekmol stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. He was a massive alien with 4 arms and skin like black metal. His red eyes watched the tactical display showing the human solar system. Behind him, 3 100 alien warships move through space in perfect formation. "Commander," said his tactical officer, a thin blue alien named Sub-Captain Erixtal. "We are approaching the outer edge of the human system. Our sensors detect 12 small human vessels near the large gas planet they call Jupiter." Thekmol looked at the display with contempt. The human ships were tiny compared to his vessels. Each of his ships was over a mile long and armed with weapons that could destroy cities. The human ships looked like toys. Only 12 ships. Thekmol laughed, a sound like grinding stone. "I expected more resistance from a species that dared to refuse the Council's demands. This will be easier than destroying space debris." On the bridge of the human ship Defiant, Captain Ryan Kelly studied his own tactical display. He was a young man with brown hair and calm green eyes. He had graduated from the Space Academy only 5 years ago, but he was already known as one of Earth's best tactical minds. "Sir," said Lieutenant Commander Beth Walsh, his second in command. "Long-range sensors confirm 300 alien ships approaching our position. They'll reach us in 30 minutes. Captain Kelly nodded slowly. Beth was a woman with short red hair and fierce blue eyes. She had been Kelly's friend since academy days, and he trusted her completely. "Signal all ships," Kelly ordered. "Move to attack formation Delta. Use Jupiter's gravity well for acceleration." His communications officer, Ensign Tony Garcia, looked confused. "Sir, attack formation? Against 300 ships?" Kelly smiled grimly. "Tony, we're not here to win. We're here to teach these aliens that humans don't die quietly." The 12 human ships began moving toward Jupiter's massive gravitational field. Each ship was small and fast, designed for patrol missions rather than major battles. They carried missiles, railguns, and nuclear weapons, but nothing compared to alien technology. War Commander Thekmol watched the human ships with growing amusement. "Look at them, Erixtal. They're actually moving toward us. Do they think their primitive weapons can penetrate our shields?" "Perhaps they plan to surrender after making a token resistance," Erixtal suggested. "Let them come," Thekmol said. "We will destroy them quickly and then move on to their planet. I want this over before the day cycle ends." The alien fleet continued forward in their standard battle formation. They had used the same tactics for centuries because they always worked. Their ships were bigger, faster, and more heavily armed than anything they had ever faced. Captain Kelly's ships approached Jupiter at high speed. The massive planet's gravity pulled them faster and faster. On the Defiance bridge, the crew watched their speed indicators climb to dangerous levels. "Sir," called Navigation Officer Danny Roberts, "we're approaching maximum safe velocity. If we go much faster, we won't be able to turn without tearing the ship apart." Kelly's eyes never left the tactical display. "Hold course, Danny. Trust me." The alien sensors tracked the human ships as they swung around Jupiter. "War Commander." Thekmol expected them to slow down and take defensive positions. Instead, something impossible happened. The human ships used Jupiter's gravity like a slingshot. They whipped around the planet at incredible speed and shot directly toward the alien fleet. But they didn't come straight at the aliens. Instead, they approached from above and below, using angles that should have been impossible. "What are they doing?" Erixtal asked, confused. "This is not standard battle doctrine." Thekmol frowned. In 1,000 years of conquest, no species had ever used gravitational mechanics this way in battle. "It doesn't matter. Their ships are too small to damage us." The human ships came screaming out of their gravity-assisted turns at velocities that made the alien computers recalculate threat assessments. Captain Kelly's voice crackled across all human ship communications. "All ships. This is Kelly. Remember, we're not trying to survive this. We're trying to make them remember us. Attack Pattern Omega. Give them everything we have." The Defiant led the charge straight at the alien flagship. Kelly's ship fired every missile it carried, followed by a continuous stream of railgun projectiles. The other human ships split into 3 groups, attacking from different directions simultaneously. War Commander Thekmol felt his first moment of concern when the human weapons struck his shields. The impacts were much stronger than expected. Several of his smaller ships reported shield failures. "Impossible," he muttered. "Their weapons are primitive." Lieutenant Commander Walsh's ship, the Courage, dove toward a group of alien cruisers. Her ship was already damaged from alien return fire, but she kept attacking. When her weapons ran out of ammunition, she did something that shocked every alien in the fleet. She aimed her ship directly at the largest alien cruiser and activated maximum thrust. "Beth, what are you doing?" Kelly shouted over the radio. "What needs to be done?" Walsh replied calmly. "Tell my family I love them." The Courage struck the alien cruiser at tremendous speed. The human ship was destroyed instantly, but the explosion tore through the alien vessel's hull. The cruiser broke apart, killing thousands of alien crew members. Thekmol stood in stunned silence. No species in Council history had ever used suicide attacks. It was considered barbaric and pointless, but the humans seemed to consider it a valid tactic. "Sir," Erixtal reported, his voice shaking, "we've lost 17 ships. The humans are using ramming attacks and self-destruct sequences. Our formations are breaking apart." More human ships followed Walsh's example. When their weapons failed, they turned themselves into missiles. The alien fleet, designed to fight organized battles between civilized species, had no defense against opponents who were willing to die to inflict damage. Captain Kelly's ship was the last human vessel still fighting. The Defiant was badly damaged, with hull breaches on 3 decks and most weapons destroyed. Kelly himself was bleeding from a head wound, but he remained at his command chair. "Sir," reported Ensign Garcia, "we're losing life support. Hull integrity is at 15%. Kelly looked at his tactical display. His sacrifice play had worked better than expected. 37 alien ships were destroyed or heavily damaged. The alien fleet was in chaos, their neat formations scattered. "Tony," Kelly said quietly, "send a message to Earth. Tell them we made first contact. Tell them the aliens can be hurt." Before Garcia could respond, an alien plasma beam struck the Defiance Bridge. The explosion killed Captain Kelly instantly and destroyed the last human ship in the battle. War Commander Thekmol surveyed the aftermath of the battle with growing horror. He had lost 37 ships and over 50,000 crew members. The humans had lost only 12 small vessels, but they had inflicted more damage on a Council fleet than any enemy in 200 years. "Commander," Erixtal said hesitantly, "should we continue to Earth?" Thekmol looked at the wreckage floating around them. Pieces of human and alien ships drifted together in space. "Yes, but send a message to the Council first. Request immediate reinforcements." "How many additional ships, sir?" Thekmol thought about the human willingness to die fighting. He thought about their impossible tactics and their refusal to surrender even when facing certain death. "All of them," he said finally. "Send every available ship in the fleet." Back on Kepler Station, Chancellor Zektar received Thekmol's report with disbelief. Coordinator Silneth's crystal body flickered with nervous energy as she read the casualty numbers. 37 ships lost, Zektar hissed, to 12 primitive vessels? "The humans used tactics we have never encountered," Silneth said. "Suicide, attacks, gravitational acceleration, coordinated strikes from impossible angles. Our battle computers had no programs to counter such methods." Zektar paced back and forth, his claws clicking on the metal floor. "This is unacceptable. We are the Galactic Council. We have conquered nearly 1,000 worlds. How can one primitive planet cause such losses?" "Perhaps we underestimated them," Silneth suggested carefully. "Impossible. Their technology is centuries behind ours. This was a fluke, nothing more." Zektar turned to face the communication array. "Send orders to all sector fleets. I want 2,000 ships assembled for the assault on Earth. We will crush these humans completely." But deep in his mind, Zektar felt something he had not experienced in centuries of conquest. For the first time since becoming Chancellor, he felt a small seed of doubt about the Council's inevitable victory. Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Morrison received Captain Kelly's final transmission. The words were simple, but clear. The aliens can be hurt. Morrison stood looking out at the stars and spoke quietly to himself. Well done, Captain. You've given us something more valuable than ships or weapons. You've given us hope. The war was just beginning. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship Justice as 800 human ships approached the Vega system. Behind him stretched the largest human fleet ever assembled, filled with vessels that had once seemed impossible. Ships, built with alien technology, crewed by humans who had learned to fight among the stars. "Admiral," reported Captain Linda Hayes from the communications station, "we're receiving surrender requests from 12 Council member species. The Clithren Empire has officially joined our alliance and is providing intelligence on Council." "Defenses." Morrison nodded as he studied the tactical display. The Vega system contained the Council's capital world and their most powerful remaining fleet. This would be the final battle of the war. "What's the status of our simultaneous attacks?" Morrison asked. "General Rodriguez reports that ground forces have landed on 17 Council strongholds," Hayes replied. "All attacks are proceeding, on schedule. The aliens are fighting, but their coordination is breaking down." On the planet Vega Prime, Chancellor Zektar stood in his war room surrounded by the few remaining Council leaders. Through the windows, he could see alien ships fleeing the system as human forces approached. "How many ships will defend our homeworld?" Zektar asked his military commanders. Admiral Krexthor checked his final reports. 400 vessels, Chancellor. It is all we have left. The rest of our fleet has been destroyed or has joined the human alliance. Coordinator Silneth's crystal body was dim with despair. "Chancellor, perhaps it is time to consider surrender." "Terms. The humans have shown mercy to species that join them willingly." "The Council does not surrender," Zektar hissed. "We have ruled this galaxy for 1,000 years. I will not be the Chancellor who ends our empire. Then we will be the last Council leaders," Admiral Krexthor said quietly. "Because if we lose this battle, there will be no Council left to lead." High above the planet, the space battle began as 400 alien ships met 800 human vessels. But this was not the same kind of fight that had started the war. Now the humans had better ships, better weapons, and tactics the aliens still couldn't counter. General Amy Rodriguez commanded the ground assault from her command ship as human Marines landed on Vega Prime. She was amazed at how quickly alien resistance crumbled. After months of losing battles, the Council's ground forces had lost the will to fight effectively. "General," reported Colonel Pete Johnson, "the capital city's defenses are falling faster than expected. Most alien units are surrendering after token resistance." "Keep pushing forward," Rodriguez ordered, "but treat prisoners well. We want to show the galaxy that humans fight with honor." Dr. Carlos Rivera had set up broadcasting equipment in the captured alien facilities. His psychological warfare campaign was working better than anyone had hoped. Throughout the Council territory, alien species were declaring independence and joining the human alliance. "People of the galaxy," Carlos spoke into his microphone, "today marks the end of 1,000 years of tyranny. The Galactic Council's empire is crumbling, not because humans are conquerors, but because beings everywhere are choosing freedom over slavery." In the space battle above Vega Prime, Admiral Morrison watched as alien ship after alien ship either surrendered or was destroyed. The humans had learned to fight with alien technology, but they had kept their human tactics of unpredictability and determination. "Admiral," called Captain Hayes, "the alien flagship is requesting a communication channel." "Put them through," Morrison replied. Chancellor Zektar's reptilian face appeared on the main screen. His yellow eyes showed defeat for the first time in his life. "Human Admiral, Zektar said slowly. I wish to discuss terms. The terms are simple, Morrison replied. Complete and unconditional surrender. All Council forces will lay down their weapons immediately. And what of the Council? Leadership? Zektar asked. You will face trial for war crimes. But if you surrender now and order all remaining Council forces to stop fighting, your people will be treated fairly. Zektar looked around his bridge at his defeated officers. What guarantee do I have that humans will not become conquerors? Like the Council? Morrison thought for a moment before answering. You have the same guarantee every free species in this galaxy will have. Humans fight for freedom, not for empire. We will help build a new galactic government based on choice, not force. Before Zektar could respond, alarms began sounding on his ship. Admiral Krexthor reported with panic in his voice. Chancellor, our automatic defense systems have activated the planet-killer weapons. They will fire on Earth in 30 minutes. Morrison's face turned cold. Chancellor, if those weapons fire, this negotiation is over. We will destroy every Council ship and facility in the galaxy. I cannot stop them, Zektar said desperately. The weapons were programmed to activate if we faced total defeat. Only the Central Command codes can abort the launch. Technical. Specialist Owen Clark had been monitoring alien communications from his position aboard Morrison's flagship. He was the same computer expert who had helped develop the virus that captured Proxima Station. Admiral, Owen called out, I think I can hack into their system and stop the launch. But I need direct access to their flagship's computer core. Morrison looked at Zektar on the screen. Chancellor, you will transport Mr. Clark to your ship immediately. If you try to harm him, or if those weapons launch, we will turn your homeworld into space dust. Agreed, Zektar said quickly. Owen Clark materialized on the alien flagship's bridge minutes later. He ran to the main computer console and began typing rapidly on the alien keyboard. Their system is more complex than anything we've captured. Before, Owen muttered as he worked, but the basic structure is the same. Zektar watched the human work with a mixture of fear and amazement. How can you understand our technology so quickly? Because we've been studying your stuff for months, Owen replied without looking up. Plus, you guys use the same basic programming for everything. Makes it easier to break. With 5 minutes left before the weapons would fire, Owen found the abort codes. Got it, he said, pressing the final sequence. Planet-killer weapons are offline. On the bridge of the Justice, Admiral Morrison watched the alien weapons power down. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Chancellor Zektar, do you surrender? Zektar looked at his defeated fleet, his crumbling empire, and the human who had just saved Earth from destruction. The Galactic Council surrenders unconditionally. The formal surrender ceremony took place 3 days later aboard Admiral Morrison's flagship. Chancellor Zektar and Coordinator Silneth stood before human officers and representatives from dozens of formerly enslaved species. President Lisa Carter, who had traveled from Earth for the ceremony, read the surrender terms aloud. The Galactic Council hereby dissolves all claims to authority over member species. All enslaved populations will be freed immediately. The Council will pay reparations to species harmed during their reign. Most importantly, no government will ever again claim dominion over species that choose to remain free. Zektar signed the document with hands that shook slightly. I must ask, President Carter, what will happen to the Council species? Carter looked at the defeated alien leader with compassion. You will have the same choice as everyone else, Chancellor. You can join the new Galactic Assembly as equals, or you can govern yourselves independently. But you will never again rule over others without their consent. 2 weeks later, President Carter stood before the first meeting of the Galactic Assembly. Representatives from over 300 species filled the great hall that had once been the Council's throne room. Today we begin something new, Carter said to the assembled delegates. Not another empire built on conquest, but a true alliance built on freedom and cooperation. In the audience, Former Chancellor Zektar sat with the other Vorthak representatives. He still struggled to understand how humans had accomplished the impossible. How did they do it? He whispered to Silneth, who sat beside him. The former coordinator's crystal body pulsed with thoughtful light. I have studied human psychology for months, trying to understand. I believe it is because they never fought for conquest. They fought for survival, for freedom, for each other. When you fight for those things, you find strength you never knew you had. Zektar watched President Carter address the assembly with respect and dignity, treating former enemies as equals. Perhaps, he said quietly, the humans were not the primitives after all. President Carter concluded her speech with words that would be remembered throughout galactic history. The Council learned too late that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology or our tactics. It's our refusal to accept defeat when fighting for what we believe in. Today, that fighting is over. Today, we build a galaxy where every species can choose its own destiny. The assembly erupted in cheers, clicks, hisses, and songs of celebration from hundreds of different species. For the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy was truly free. Admiral Morrison stood at the back of the hall, watching species that had been enemies for centuries shake hands and make plans for peaceful cooperation. Captain Kelly and Lieutenant Commander Walsh would have been proud to see this day. The war was over. Freedom had won. Captain Nina Foster stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Earth's Fury, watching 400 human ships move through space in perfect formation. 6 months ago, she had been a cargo ship pilot, running supplies between Earth and Mars. Now she commanded the largest human fleet ever assembled. "Captain," called her tactical officer, Lieutenant Sam Torres, "long-range sensors confirm the target. Proxima Station is directly ahead, just as intelligence reported." Nina studied the massive alien space station through her view screen. Proxima Station was the size of a small city, with defensive weapons that could destroy entire fleets. The Galactic Council considered it impossible to capture. "How many alien ships are defending the station?" Nina asked. 62 heavy cruisers and over 300 smaller vessels," Torres replied. "Plus the station's own weapons. They have enough firepower to level a planet." Nina smiled grimly. 6 months ago, those numbers would have been terrifying. Now, they just looked like a challenge. "Signal all ships," Nina ordered. "Begin attack plan, Charlie. Commander Turner, are your people ready?" On the engineering ship Breakthrough, Commander Alex Turner checked his computer systems one final time. Alex was a thin man with nervous hands, but he was the best computer expert Earth had ever produced. "Ready, Captain Foster," Alex replied, over the communication system. "We've analyzed the alien computer networks for months. Their systems are incredibly advanced, but they all use the same basic programming. If this virus works, their entire defense grid will shut down." The human fleet split into 3 groups as they approached Proxima Station. The aliens detected them immediately and began powering up their weapons systems. Station Commander Velthak was a proud warrior who had defended Proxima Station for 20 years. He was a tall, blue alien with 6 arms and armor covered in battle decorations. "Humans?" Velthak laughed when he saw the approaching ships. 400 vessels against our impregnable fortress? They must be desperate." His tactical officer, Subcommander Crixnall, studied the sensor readings. "Sir, their ships are smaller than our intelligence report suggested. Most appear to be converted cargo vessels or patrol craft." "Even better," Velthak said. "We will destroy them quickly and send their wreckage back to Earth as a warning." The alien weapons began firing massive energy beams at the approaching human ships. Several human vessels were destroyed immediately, but the rest kept coming. What confused Velthak was their approach pattern. "Why are they not attacking our weapons?" Velthak asked. "They are flying directly toward our docking bays." Before Crixnall could answer, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed red as computer systems started shutting down randomly. "Sir," Crixnell reported in panic, "we are losing control of our defense systems. Something is interfering with our computers." On the breakthrough, Alex Turner watched his virus spread through the alien network like wildfire. "It's working perfectly," he told his team. "Their computers are going offline section by section." The virus Alex had created was based on alien technology captured from destroyed ships. But instead of trying to match alien sophistication, Alex had done something simpler. He had created a program that looked for the standardized control codes. "All Council technology used. Captain Foster," Alex reported. "Station defenses are down to 30% and falling. You have a clear approach to the main docking bay." Nina's ships dove toward the station as alien weapons fell silent one by one. The humans had learned something important about the Galactic Council. Their strength was also their weakness. Because all Council technology was standardized, one virus could affect everything. "All Marines, prepare for boarding action," Nina ordered. "Remember, we need those computer cores intact. The information they contain could win us the war." Major Lisa Campbell led the first wave of human Marines onto Proxima Station. She was a tough woman who had fought in Earth's old wars before the aliens arrived. Behind her, 300 Marines ran through the station's corridors. The alien. Defenders were completely unprepared for human boarding tactics. The Council had always fought ship-to-ship battles in space. The idea of soldiers fighting inside space stations was foreign to them. "Major," called Sergeant Rick Wilson over the radio, "we've reached the command center. The aliens are surrendering, faster than we can accept their surrender." Lisa looked around at the alien soldiers dropping their weapons. They're not used to close combat, she realized. All their training is for long-range space battles. Within 4 hours, Proxima Station belonged to humanity. The capture gave Earth access to the most complete alien computer database ever found. But more importantly, it gave them something else. Dr. Carlos Rivera stood in his new office aboard the captured station, broadcasting human music and movies to alien worlds throughout the Council territory. Carlos was a professor who had studied alien psychology before the war. "This is the voice of free humanity," Carlos spoke into the microphone. "To all species forced to serve the Galactic Council, we bring you a message of hope." He played recordings of human music, showed videos of Earth's cities, and told stories of human courage. But the most powerful broadcasts were simple. Humans talking about freedom, about choosing their own lives, about refusing to kneel to tyrants. The effect was immediate and unexpected. On dozens of Council worlds, alien species began asking questions they had never asked before. Why did they serve the Council? What would happen if they said no? On Kepler Station, Coordinator Silneth brought urgent reports to Chancellor Zektar. Her crystal body flickered with nervous energy. "Chancellor, we have lost contact with Proxima Station. The humans have not only captured it, they are using it to broadcast propaganda to our member worlds." Zektar's claws scraped against the metal floor as he paced. "What kind of propaganda?" "They show images of their world, their culture, their freedom. Several client species have sent messages asking about independence agreements." "Impossible," Zektar hissed. "Our member species are content under Council rule. They have been loyal for centuries." "The reports suggest otherwise, sir. The Clithrin have officially questioned our authority. The Vorthan Republic has recalled their ships from frontline service. Even some of our own ethereal colonies are expressing doubts." Before Zektar could respond, another alarm sounded. Admiral Krexthor rushed into the chamber with more bad news. "Chancellor, the humans have attacked the Arcturus shipyard," Krexthor reported. "Commodore Kate Phillips led 150 ships in a direct assault." "What is the status of our primary construction facility?" Silneth asked. "Destroyed, Coordinator. The humans used some kind of new torpedo that penetrated our strongest shields. They also captured 3 of our newest ship designs and all of our manufacturing equipment." Zektar felt something he had never experienced in his centuries of life. Fear. How many ships do the humans have now? Our latest intelligence suggests over 1,000 vessels, sir, and they are building more every day using our own captured technology. Silneth's crystal body dimmed to almost nothing. Chancellor, I must ask the question that we have all been avoiding. What if we cannot defeat the humans? Do not speak such words, Zektar snapped. We are the Galactic Council. We have ruled for 1,000 years. But, sir, Admiral Krexthor said quietly, we have lost more ships in 6 months of fighting humans than we lost in the previous century of conquest. Our member species are questioning our authority. Our most secure facilities have been captured or destroyed. Zektar looked at the tactical display showing human ships throughout what had once been secure council space. Red dots marked human victories, captured stations, and allied species that had switched sides. How many ships do we have left? Zektar asked finally. Approximately 1,500 vessels remain fully operational, Krexthor replied. But many of our crews are demoralized. They have heard stories about human tactics, about their refusal to surrender even when facing certain death. And the humans continue to grow stronger, Silneth added. Every battle teaches them new tactics. Every captured facility gives them better technology. Every broadcast converts more species to their cause. Zektar stared at the display for a long time. For the first time in Council history, they were losing a war. Not just losing battles, but losing the war itself. What are our options? He asked quietly. We could offer terms, Silneth suggested. Perhaps a negotiated peace. Never, Zektar said firmly. The Council does not negotiate with primitives. Then we fight, Admiral Krexthor said. We gather every remaining ship and make one final assault on Earth itself. Either we crush them completely or what? Zektar demanded. Krexthor looked at his chancellor with sad eyes. Or the Galactic Council comes to an end. Meanwhile, Admiral Morrison stood in the command center on Earth, watching reports pour in from human fleets across the galaxy. The impossible was happening. Humanity was winning. Admiral, reported Captain Foster over long-range communications, we've secured the Proxima sector, ready for the next phase of operations. Morrison looked at the star map showing human advances on every front. Good work, Nina. Begin preparations for the final push. It's time to take the war to their home system. The greatest battle in galactic history was about to begin. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Spiral Wing Republic's territory. What Admiral Lisa Carter saw on her screens made her angry. The beautiful crystal cities of the bird-like aliens were burning. Admiral, I'm reading. Massive destruction on the surface of their homeworld, reported Lieutenant Dave Collins from his sensor station. Entire cities have been leveled. Lisa studied the tactical display. Unlike the Void Swarm's methodical planet-eating, this destruction was random and cruel. The attackers weren't harvesting resources. They were just destroying things for fun. What kind of monsters are we dealing with? Asked Captain Jake Murphy from his destroyer Ranger. Their answer came when the Shadow Fleet ships revealed themselves. These weren't machines like the Void Swarm. They were organic ships that looked like they had been grown rather than built. Dark purple hulls covered in spikes and weapon ports. Each ship was unique, as if designed by someone with a twisted imagination. Incoming transmission, Collins announced. The main screen flickered and showed a creature that made everyone on. The bridge stepped backward. It looked like a nightmare version of a human, with gray skin, black eyes, and too many teeth. When it spoke, its voice was like fingernails on metal. So, the famous Death Worlders have come to play, the creature hissed. I am War Master Vex Karn of the Shadow Fleet. We have heard stories of your victory over the machines. Impressive, but the Void Swarm were just mindless drones. We are something far worse. Lisa stepped forward. This is Admiral Carter of the Earth Defense Force. You're attacking innocent people. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Vex Karn laughed, a sound that made everyone's skin crawl. "Consequences? Human? My people have been raiding and pillaging for 10,000 years. We destroyed the marble cities of Epsilon Prime. We burned the crystal gardens of New Atlantis. What makes you think your little fleet can stop us?" "Because we're humans," Lisa said simply, "and we don't know how to quit." The alien's expression changed to something like respect. "Ah, the famous human stubbornness. Very well, Deathworlders. Let us see if your reputation is deserved." The communication ended, and the Shadow Fleet moved to attack. There were 40 enemy ships, each one bristling with weapons that looked designed to cause maximum suffering. "All ships, battle formation Gamma," Lisa ordered. "Maria, launch all fighters. Ben, target their lead ship. Let's show these raiders what real warriors look like." The human fleet moved into position. They had learned much from fighting the Void. Swarm and the new alien technologies made their ships faster and stronger than ever. Captain Maria Gonzalez's carrier Liberty launched over 200 fighters. The small craft swarmed toward the enemy like an angry cloud of metal wasps. "Admiral, these enemy ships are fast," reported Lieutenant Colonel Kate Johnson from her fighter squadron, "but their weapons are designed for terrorizing civilians, not fighting military targets." That was the Shadow Fleet's weakness, Lisa realized. They were bullies who preyed on the weak. They had never faced an enemy that fought back effectively. "All fighters concentrate on their weapon systems," Lisa ordered. "Disable their ability to hurt civilians." The human fighters dove in with precision strikes. Their new weapons, upgraded with Kalari technology, cut through the Shadow Fleet's armor like hot knives through butter. But the Shadow Fleet had tricks of their own. Several of their ships suddenly became invisible. Stealth systems, called Captain Ben Turner from the cruiser Thunder. "I've lost target lock on 3 enemy vessels. Steve, this is your specialty," Lisa said to Commander Steve Parker on the stealth ship UTS Shadow. "Already on it, Admiral," Steve replied. "Their stealth technology is good, but it has a weakness. They can't fire weapons while cloaked." Steve's ship began broadcasting a special signal that disrupted the enemy stealth fields. One by one, the hidden Shadow Fleet ships became visible again. "Nice work, Steve," Lisa said. "All ships concentrate fire on the decloaked targets." The battle was going well for the humans, but then something unexpected happened. One of the Shadow Fleet ships broke formation and headed straight for the planet's surface. "Admiral, that ship is heading for the civilian evacuation sites," reported Collins urgently. Lisa watched in horror as the enemy ship began bombing refugee camps. Thousands of innocent bird-like aliens were dying while their own ships were too busy fighting to help. "Jake, break off and intercept that ship," Lisa ordered. "On my way," Jake replied, turning his destroyer toward the planet. But Jake's ship was too far away. The Shadow Fleet vessel would reach the civilians first, unless someone closer could stop it. Captain Ryan Edwards made the decision without being asked. His converted mining ship Prospector was the closest to the planet. "Ryan, no," Lisa called. "Your ship isn't armed for ship-to-ship combat." "Maybe not," Ryan replied cheerfully. "But I've got something better. I've got mining charges and a really bad attitude." The Prospector accelerated toward the attacking Shadow Fleet ship. Ryan's vessel was slow and clumsy compared to the sleek alien raider, but it was also much tougher. The Shadow Fleet ship fired everything it had at the approaching mining vessel. Energy beams and projectile weapons hammered Ryan's shields, but the Prospector kept coming. "Ryan, your shields are failing," warned Dr. Lisa Morgan from her science station. "Don't need them where I'm going." Ryan laughed. The Prospector rammed the Shadow Fleet ship at full speed. But instead of trying to destroy the enemy vessel, Ryan used his mining equipment to latch onto its hull like a giant mechanical parasite. "Mining charges armed," Ryan announced. "See you in hell, you alien scum." The explosion destroyed both ships, but it saved thousands of civilian lives on the planet below. Ryan Edwards died as he had lived, protecting others with a smile on his face. "Ryan," Lisa whispered, watching the fireball fade. The destruction of their comrade enraged the remaining Shadow Fleet ships. They abandoned their careful tactics and charged straight at the human fleet in a fury of hatred and revenge. "They're making it personal now," observed Jake as his destroyer engaged two enemy ships at once. "Good," Lisa replied grimly. "Personal is what humans do best." The battle became a savage, close-range fight. Shadow Fleet ships tried to ram human vessels while human captains used every dirty trick they had learned in centuries of warfare. Captain Tony Baker's assault ship Hammer actually landed on the hull of an enemy vessel and used its boarding equipment to tear the ship apart from the outside. "Who needs boarding parties when you can just rip their hull off?" Tony announced cheerfully, as his target broke apart. Meanwhile, Amy Rodriguez in her new ship Pioneer was using hit-and-run tactics that were driving the enemy crazy. Her ship would appear, fire a devastating salvo, then disappear before the enemy could respond. "Amy, where did you learn to fight like that?" asked Maria from the Liberty. "Border wars," Amy replied simply. "Colonial rebels taught me that being sneaky beats being strong." As the battle continued, the Shadow Fleet began to realize they were losing. These humans fought with a combination of advanced technology and primitive savagery that was impossible to counter. War Master Vex Karn's flagship tried to retreat, but found its path blocked by the massive dreadnought Valiant. "Going somewhere?" Lisa asked over the communication channel. "This isn't over, human," Vex Karn snarled. "The Shadow Fleet has 1,000 ships. We will return." "We'll be waiting," Lisa replied. "But first, you're going to answer for what you did to those civilians." The final phase of the battle was swift and decisive. The remaining Shadow Fleet ships were either destroyed or captured. War Master Vex Karn himself was taken prisoner when his ship's engines failed under concentrated human fire. As the smoke cleared, Lisa looked at her casualty reports. 3 ships lost, including Ryan's Prospector. 47 human lives given to save thousands of alien civilians. "Admiral," came a new voice over the communication system. "This is Nest Leader Kretak. My people owe you a debt that can never be repaid." Lisa looked at the screen where the bird-like alien leader was surrounded by his rescued people. Many of them were injured, but they were alive. "No debt necessary," Lisa said. "Just promise me you'll help the next species that needs it." "We promise," Kretak replied solemnly. "The Spiral Wing Republic will join the Galactic Defense Alliance. We will learn to fight like humans." As the human fleet began rescue operations, Lisa reflected on what they had accomplished. Another enemy defeated, another species saved. But Ryan's sacrifice reminded her that victory always came with a price. "Admiral," Jake said quietly, joining her at the observation window. "Earth Command is sending more ships. Apparently half the galaxy wants human protection now." Lisa nodded. The legend of the Death Worlders was growing. Soon they would face enemies even worse than the Shadow Fleet. But for now, innocent people were safe. And that was enough.